it's Olivia, and I've already tried filming this twice. I've just come to the conclusion that there's no way I can probably give in like half of my thoughts in this video. There's so much to say about this book. Today's look is clearly inspired by Star on the cover with her red headband. This is I know you've heard about this. It's very talked about, very hyped up book about a black teenage girl who sees her friend killed by the police after a party and how her life and her community is affected by that. I think that this book is excellent. It's getting fantastic reviews and such high praise, and I think it's so deserving of that, and I think it's an important book that everyone should pick up. I can't wait to get my little sister to read this. This was also, I started using the little tabs, and I love using tabs now. I can't wait to do it for more books. It'll make it so easy to just go to a page and talk about something interesting, but oh boy, I love this. I would give this almost a 5 stars, but I've just been really greedy with my 5 stars lately. Like, I haven't given anything 5 stars in a little bit. And while this book it's tackling a very heavy subject matter, it gets intense and everything, I think it balances out really well with the lighthearted bits and the funny parts. It flowed really well. And one of my favorite things about this book is the different perspectives that we get. We have Star, who is a teenage black girl who witnessed this, but she also goes to a primarily white school, and so she's also tackling like code switching and having to act differently. We also have her family. Her dad used to be in prison. Her uncle is a police officer. It's just very realistic. We have all these different scenarios, and I just really love how no matter what the label is of the character, if they're a drug dealer, if they're a cop, the characters are not just their labels or what just about any other person would like define them as. Something else that really struck me was like, if I witnessed something like that, if I had a friend die, if someone in my community even died, and so in a way like that, I feel like my whole world would stop. I don't know, it would, you know, when someone died, people are grieving. And it just seems like with these cases of police brutality that the families don't get to really have their time to grieve in peace. Let me explain myself. With so many of these cases, you'll have people look at the victim and try to look at anything bad about the victim to justify them dying. How must that be to the family and community of these tragic events, to have something so traumatic happen and to have half the country shouting that they deserve to die, that they come from a terrible community, they have a bad history, they're drugged, whatever it is, they deserve to die. Who cares? Who cares? It's like these people are like pushed aside, like they don't get the right to grieve. It's the idea that we have a whole family who lost someone, a whole community who lost someone, and yet they're just a hashtag that flies by. And all people are focused on is whether or not the victim deserved it. But anyway, I love where the plot went, like the story, how our climax was, and I love the characters and the relationships in the book and all the different things that are brought up, and I absolutely think that you should pick up this book. So that's going to be it for the spoiler-free section. That's it. I'm going to start talking about spoilers now. Alright, so if you're here, you've hopefully read the book, and I want to first talk about her Star's friend, Haley. I think that she was such an important character to have. Oh my goodness. I was just so happy that her character is in this book because I see her character in real life. I think Angie Thomas did a really good job of like humanizing every character. They weren't just defined by like a label that someone would give them. I don't think that Haley is a bad person. These people in real life like her who make subtly racist jokes, but you know, they're just offended if you call them racist, but will say that, you know, people like Khalil deserve to die. Even then, I don't think that they're bad people. They're still human. They still have, like, you know, they're still normal people, but I think they're just seriously misguided. I don't know, maybe there's people who disagree. Maybe people think that Haley is just a really bad person and whatever. I don't think she is. I think she's just misguided and has a bad mindset that was also most likely instilled in her from her parents. I also want to talk about Star and Chris, the interracial relationship that was brought up in the story. I love that that was talked about. And I think that they're so cute with their Fresh Prince like thing. They're all about the Fresh Prince, and they're just so cute. Interracial relationships, I think, especially when it comes to black and white partners, are harshly judged, especially by black people, because if a black person dates outside their race, I feel like there's some people who will look at that and be like, oh, you're dating someone else, you're kind of shying away from your own identity. That's the type of thing that people get, like, oh, you're betraying your own race. And I just like that it was brought up the issues that come about from being in an interracial relationship, and like even how her family felt about it. Her dad. Okay, you know, I'm just going to start talking about her dad. Actually, no, I'm going to talk about her parents. Her parents and how Star viewed them as like her OTP. They were just so beautiful to read about. They are now like some of my favorite parents in a novel. I hope that if I do some tag in the future, one of the questions is like, who is your favorite book parents? I'd probably say them. They are so sweet, and just also just black love in general. Their whole family, I feel like, is really misconstrued in the media. In movies and TV shows, I don't feel like you see that often, like a beautiful, happy, loving black family. And it was just so sweet to see them. And also being together despite their difficulties. They're not perfect. You know, they really disagreed on where they should be living. And Big Mab he was in prison. That's what I loved about Big Mab, the fact that he was in prison, but hey, if you go to prison, that doesn't mean that like you are doomed to a terrible life and you're a terrible human being. No, you're in prison and you have the opportunity to be so much better. I just love how we have a character who to a lot of people would just look at and be like, that guy's been in prison, he's no good. And we really get to see how he is perfectly fine. He just has his flaws. He's made mistakes. He's even though he's been in prison, he's still able to be a loving father and care about his kids and provide for his kids. And that really just sheds light on like black men in the prison system. Oh, lots to talk about there. Someone else I want to talk about was her uncle. How he's a cop. And we get kind of his perspective, and even when we first saw him after the incident, how he was like, yeah, I think he apologized for it later. No, yeah, actually, that's one of my stickies. I actually like boxed this. He said, even if he was, I knew that boy, watched him grow up with you. And when he said even if he was, he's talking about him being a drug dealer. He was more than any bad decision that he made. I hate that I let myself fall into that mindset of trying to rationalize his death. And at the end of the day, you don't kill someone for opening a car door. If you do, you shouldn't be a cop. I had to like put the book down. I was so happy that this paragraph was in here. It's so important. There's another line in here about a cop. It says, has the situation made you fearful of cops? Someone asked to Star, and she said, I don't know. My uncle's a cop. I know not all cops are bad, and they risk their lives, you know. I'm always scared for my uncle, but I'm tired of them assuming, especially when it comes to black people. Yes, yes. My mother is a police officer, and it's really interesting to get her insight and her opinion on certain cases. She is really upset with how the media, and I think I am too, with how the media has made out every cop to be. Cops have a very bad reputation right now for just all of them being bad, and they're not. Most of them are very good. You know, they help us to do their job, and they're vital to our country. But there's the bad cops out there. I'm like skimming through the pages and I'm just going, wow, I forgot to talk about that and that and that. There's just a lot more to say. Something else I really liked about this book was just how, since it's so current, it was really cool to see them talking about Tumblr and talking, I think Devontae was listening to Kendrick Lamar's really recent album. This is very timely. This is a story that can be happening in this very moment, especially since Kendrick Lamar just had a new song come out. I love the song, by the way. When Star and Haley got into the fight, and how it was, everyone was recording and going like, world star, and how afterwards they're able to show them the fight. It's like, that's so, yeah. If a fight breaks out at school, you know you're gonna see that all over the internet. And also how she kept saying how like Mr. Lewis was gonna be a meme for his interview. That couldn't be more true. The internet just loves interviews on live television, right? So, oh my goodness. Also at the end when all the teenagers are together, so you got, who was it? It was Seven, Devontae, Star, and Chris. And when they're all together and they're asking Chris, like, what kind of food, like, is this, how do you like your mac and cheese? And he got it wrong. Oh, also the movie. Your thoughts on Amanda Stenberg as Star? I just can't help but notice how she is in a lot of movies now. She's getting casted a lot as, like, the main black girl. And while I'm very happy for that, I also feel like now everyone is like using her. The thing is, now I feel like people are starting to use her as like our black girl, and nothing against Amanda Stenberg, but it's like we can use more black actresses, you know, and I'm seeing them and it seems like they're only using her. It's just funny because in Everything, her love interest in that movie, whoever that actor is could probably play Chris in this movie. They could probably, because they're, you know, he's white, she's black, and I don't know. It's something I noticed. Anyway, that's where I'm going to end this. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another video.